Hello and welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. I'm your host, Corey Sievers, and congratulations for being with us here and spending a little bit of time talking about how we can improve your health, wealth, and wisdom. That's what we're really doing here on the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. Just really discussing topics that can help you to reach that higher level of health and lifestyle. So congratulations for taking the time and really thinking about how you can improve yourself and your life. So what we're all about here in the Savvy team, if you're new to what we do, we're about helping you reach that higher level of health and lifestyle. And so when you tap in with our supportive community, you'll have access to all of our step-by-step action plans, innovative solutions, and really all the guidance and support that you need to get the job done to reach your health and lifestyle goals. So look, congratulations for being with us. We're going to be talking about anti-aging and the best anti-aging tips of all time in this particular session, along with in the Wealthy and Wise, the lost mode of prayer. So worthwhile sharing. This is great information to share, and we would love to know your thoughts. So if you have any inspiration and insights as we go along, whether you're jumping on live or whether you're catching the replay, do let us know. So that being said, if you're jumping on live, please give me a wave so that I can see that you're here. Just give me a wave in the comments or something so that I can actually see that you are here. And if you're catching the replay, I'd love to know your thoughts as well. So look, as I mentioned there, if you are new to what we do in the Savvy team, we're all about helping you reach a higher level of health and lifestyle. In this particular session, we're dealing with the best anti-aging tips of all time. These are natural strategies to slow the aging process inside and out. And look, we have a whole range of different wellness programs and action plans really to help you to have a system, like a systematic process to be able to help you achieve your wellness goals, really. And so really here in the Savvy team, we're on somewhat of a mission really to help people understand the underlying issues that trigger many of our common complaints today. So whether it be just many people are wanting to avoid disease, but others are looking to optimize their well-being. And so, wherever you see yourself fitting in, that's okay. We have an action plan and program that can help you. But we're on somewhat of a mission really here because we're really putting together an integrated strategy for holistic wellness and disease prevention. So really, and an entire support structure for you to be able to, know where to turn for all of the information and resources around holistic wellness and disease prevention. We already are a long way along with our goal there, with our wellness community and private website and Facebook groups and all that sort of thing. So come join us. I think you'll be glad you did. So yeah, we really, when you look at what we're here to do, we're here to help, to inspire you, to motivate and to guide you all along the journey. But look, it's important that you be aware that everything that I'm going to be sharing in this show, or that we share all over our websites and our blog, etc., please understand that this information reflects our personal research and experiences, and is for educational purposes only, so should not be seen as medical advice or therapeutic claims. The information is general in nature, and so all of your individual health concerns have not been taken into account. Any comments and experiences from me or any member of our community should not be interpreted as medical advice or therapeutic claims. If you have any question as to the appropriateness of the information with regards to your own health, please do discuss this with your healthcare provider. But that being said, we do encourage you to take self-responsibility for your own well-being and learn more on this topic and complementary medicine in general, because no one better able to tackle your needs than you, along with the support of others, such as our community or be it your doctor and practitioner. But you're in the driver's seat. So it pays to know where you're going. And that's what our action plans and programs are all about. Because when you really think about the typical medical model that we have today, it is reactionary medicine. So in other words, you've got to wait you've got to wait to have an accident before you know where to go, where to turn and everything. And that's like, it's a little bit too too little, too late. So we want to put you on the path to holistic wellness rather than, you feel like you don't know where to turn, to find the strategies and action steps. So yes, if you want to have, if there's something that you would like to improve about your health and lifestyle, then we can guide you there. And in this particular show, we are definitely going to jump on into discussing the best anti-aging tips of all time. But before we jump on into that, we'll have our fun facts session here. Now, in the fun facts session, sometimes it relates to information that we might be sharing as part of the show, and sometimes it's something else that might relate to the body or, the way our thinking changes our life and that sort of thing. This time around, since we're talking about anti-aging, we thought we definitely need to have some fun facts around that topic. So it's definitely on anti-aging, and I want you to have a little bit of a think about this. Have you ever thought about what happens, since we're talking anti-aging, what happens from that young baby with the soft, supple, moist skin to once you're a little bit more mature and the skin develops the crinkles? My grandmother, my sister once said to my grandmother there, "Nanny, why do you have so many crinkles?" So she called them crinkles. So, whether they're crinkles or wrinkles or smile lines, laughter lines, or whatever it is, when we're thinking about wanting to look and feel our best, sometimes we don't like these wrinkles. But look, for you, when we're talking about anti-aging, whether that be the external or visible signs of aging, or whether it be the invisible signs of aging, our approach here in the Savvy team is an holistic one, really. So we really have a 360 approach. So it really doesn't matter. If you just want to feel younger, very similar strategies can be applied to help you feel years younger. If you're saying, look, I feel pretty good, but give me the anti-aging external visible signs, then certainly many of the tactics can help you there. So, but, have you ever wondered then from the feel point of view, the feeling healthy and well, how you can go from being young and vibrant and running around to then being sort of aging and everything and being hunched over and not having the same ability to move and everything? Have you thought about what is it? You might go, well, that's just aging. Yeah, but what is it that changes in the body? So the fun fact today is that this is all really, a lot of it is triggered by a couple of different compounds in the body. One is hyaluronic acid and one is collagen. And so hyaluronic acid and collagen levels decline with age. So if you look at the red line, that is the collagen, and the blue line is the hyaluronic acid. And so collagen synthesis increases when we're, from when we're born to around about our 20s to 30s and everything, and then it starts a steady decline in its production, in the collagen production in the body, whereas the hyaluronic acid declines right from birth. Now, hyaluronic acid is sort of the ability, we could easily refer to that as the ability for the cells and the skin and everything to hold moisture. And so that's our moisture retention ability relates to the hyaluronic acid, whereas the strength and the turgidity and the functional integrity of our skin is related more to the collagen. So we actually need both. And if you've been, you don't have to go very far to hear the buzzword of collagen, but very few people also understand the benefit of these two molecules together and how they act like that. So that's the fun fact for today. But it's equally important when we think about this issue of collagen, that collagen is much more than skin deep. So indeed, collagen and hyaluronic acid are responsible for those wrinkles around the eye. This is a close-up picture of an elephant, but I'm not saying that you have elephant skin or anything, but if you've been worried about the crinkles around your eye, then certainly collagen and hyaluronic acid degradation in the body is responsible. Similarly, the turkey neck. It's collagen and hyaluronic acid that's responsible. So, but collagen definitely goes much more than skin deep. And so when we look at what collagen is, it really does come from the Greek word kolla, meaning glue. It's the most abundant protein in our bodies. There's 16 different types of collagen at least, but 80 to 90% of the collagen in the body consists of a few different types. Types 1, types 2, and type 3. And especially the type 1 collagen. So type 1 and 3 are mostly found in the skin, tendons, ligaments, and the bones, while type 2 is a major component of joint cartilage. And so this is the thing you may have heard about, for example, type 2 collagen. You may have tried a type 2 collagen supplement, for example, because of your joints. The challenge is that doesn't simultaneously look after your skin because of the different types. Unless, of course, here in the Savvy team, we use a special bio-optimized type of collagen that actually crosses all factors, so you don't need to worry about the types. It's really it's so well absorbed by every part of the body that it functions right throughout the body. But this is where the types are helpful to know, because if you're not getting the right type, then it's not doing the job that you hope. So we might say that collagen's equally responsible for your skin and your joints, but they're actually different types. And so that's why many people can be taking some sorts of collagens hoping that their skin improves, but they were basically taking the wrong type, or taking one type hoping that their joints improve, but they're taking the wrong type. So what you need is something that is utilized within the body as if it's natural to the body, and that's sort of the technology that we use here in the Savvy team. But it's important to really realize that collagen and hyaluronic acid is valuable right throughout the body. So if we can keep these collagen and hyaluronic acid levels at more youthful levels, then we're going to be better off, aren't we? So it's implicated in oral health, maintaining healthy teeth and gum tissue. In fact, collagen fibers help anchor our teeth into our gums, really. Receding gums and often tooth sensitivity too, that can, and the early signs of decay and degradation of the gums and inflammation and everything can be linked to a loss of collagen, integrity. So research demonstrates that type 1 collagen is able to enhance gum healing, which results in that strengthening of the teeth and protecting your gum health. So really, really important. It's not just skin deep here. If we go to your eyes and your eye health and your nervous system health, so your eyes require both collagen and hyaluronic acid to make them strong and healthy. The connective tissue in the eye is made up of different types of collagen. The cornea, it's really a transparent tissue containing fine collagen fibers. The sclera, the opaque tissue with the white, it's containing thick interwoven collagen fibers. The vitreous body is like a gel, a polysaccharide gel that has fine collagen as well as being rich in hyaluronic acid. The lens capsule, you need again hyaluronic acid and collagen. The retinal pigment, the epithelium there needs collagen fibers, and so all of these aspects of the eye really rely upon these same two molecules. Isn't it interesting that we don't just age externally necessarily, and we don't just end up with problematic joints, but our eyesight degenerates too? Can the degradation of collagen and hyaluronic acid be implicated in the fact that we see so many people with needing glasses today? Possibly so. There are lots of different factors involved there, but if we can keep collagen and hyaluronic acid at more youthful levels in the body, then we're going to be able to slow all sorts of aspects of aging. And so obviously collagen and hyaluronic acid is implicated in healthy hair, skin, and nails, most definitely. But back to the nervous system health, it's the brain and the nerves. Up until the past decade, the interest in collagen really was related to the nervous system was minimal. And that was really because it's almost absent in the brain and the spinal cord. But collagen has been shown that it may help to protect against against Alzheimer's disease and protect the brain. It's involved in the regulation of the peripheral myelination of the nerves and the function as well. A lack of collagen can cause functional defects in the peripheral nerves as well. So it's really implicated not just in what we think of as the visible signs of aging, which is what is commonly thrown around out there in the, in the media, but it's implicated in so many aspects of our health. And certainly when as I mentioned there, the hair, skin and nails, very implicated there. And that's why here in the Savvy team, we have our 10 years younger challenge, which is about really about optimizing the nutrients that trigger the external improvement. But then we also have a joint mobility action plan, which is focused more on the things that are the internal joints and everything. But understanding when we have this 360 holistic inside-outside approach, then you're looking after your body as a whole, inside and out. So much more than skin deep, and that's what's exciting about having a holistic approach. Because also your cardiovascular system and internal organ health is supported by collagen and hyaluronic acid. Collagen keeps your heart healthy. It's the most abundant protein in your heart. It provides the structural framework for the cardiac muscle cells. It provides the stiffness to the walls of the heart and that. And so, the integrity of your vascular system also needs collagen. So when collagen breaks down, we see the early stages of cardiovascular disease, now our leading killer in the Western world. So, and that's what we deal with this somewhat in our Healthy Heart Challenge and the webinar that we have, the 7 Steps for a Healthy Heart. So if you're interested in that area of things, then we have more information for you there. But, collagen's a metabolism booster as well, but gut health. A lot of people have heard about the benefit of collagen from for repairing the gut and healing and sealing a leaky gut. And that's where bone broths and these sorts of things can be really beneficial. But it goes even deeper than that. And then we do have the joint, bone, muscle, and connective tissue health as well. So important. And we actually cover more depth in a free online class we have called Collagen, 5 Ways to Boost It and Slow Aging. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse right here in the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show of what you can do to boost collagen and slow aging. So number 1 would be to reach for a whole food diet, such as our Eat Savvy approach. Okay, that really does help. Obviously, you're limiting the exposure to chemicals and these and inflammatory foods that can really trigger the destruction of collagen synthesis in the body. Bone and joint broths, so really getting into the natural traditional foods of bone broth, which is rich in the gelatinous material as well as minerals. So you can take more gelatin, you can use hydrolyzed collagen powders, but these aren't exactly holistic and they don't usually have the same holistic impact, but they're certainly advantageous. Antioxidant supplementation, in particular vitamin C, can actually upregulate collagen synthesis. You can try things such as red light therapy and derma rolling for the external benefits, but these provide no internal benefits. And I will talk more in the main session about these briefly. And then there's more of the high-tech supplements where they're actually bio-optimized, like a collagen HA matrix technology. And that's the sort of technology that we use here in the Savvy team because it just gets in and it impacts so many aspects of the body. So you're not sort of like trying to operate on different parts with different things. It's bio-optimized to support the entire body. So we do go into that in depth, as I said, in this free web class, Collagen, 5 Ways to Boost It and Slow Aging. So a quick tip, since we're talking here about collagen, would be that since collagen is found in some of the things, like as far as animal products and everything, it's in the joints and the articular joints, and for example, even in chicken, in the cartilage and also in the skin and in the connective tissue. What that means is, the quick tip is, you can go for some of the cheaper cuts of meat and slow cook these things, and meat on the bone and all that sort of thing, save money and actually get more nutrition than trying to eat lean. And this is one of the pillars of the traditional diets of many cultures around the world. They would eat meat on the bone, and they wouldn't waste any part of an animal the way we tend to in the modern world. And so many people are deficient in some of the amino acids, such as glycine and proline and these sorts of things, because all they eat is lean meat, rather than some of the cheaper cuts of meat and the bone broths and all that sort of thing, to supply a holistic approach. So there you go. Quick tip is, you can save money and get healthier by going for some of these meat on the bone and cheaper cuts of meat even. So give it a go. Follow the Eat Savvy diet, and I think you'll be glad you did. So again, as we're getting underway, if you've just joined, Corey Sievers here with the Savvy team, and welcome to the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. It's important as we get underway that you understand this important notice, and we do encourage you to take self-responsibility for your own well-being. So are we ready to go? Are we ready to go for the top tips for anti-aging, the best anti-aging tips of all time? I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a growing list here in the Savvy team. It's something that we have spoken about for many years. Back in a long time ago, 2000 is when Linda, co-founder of the Savvy team, and myself put together the Secrets for Anti-Aging and Longevity, which was a book out of print now, but that particular book was the first we really started to look at anti-aging and much of these things that and longevity too. So it's not just about external signs of aging, which most people think of with anti-aging, but it's true internal cellular anti-aging. Now, 20 years on, there's been a lot more of that research out there. But what I'm excited to see is much of the early things that I started to see coming out in the research has just been proven. So we've been on a winning track since then. So I guess a 2 thumbs up there, a pat on the back. Well done for being at the cutting edge, if I do say so myself. But hey, look, it just means that sometimes it can be, we understand here in the Savvy team that it can be confusing for you to put all these pieces together because there's so much conflicting information. And sometimes one of the biggest challenges we see is that much of the information that I'm even sharing in this session, you don't find in the first 10 pages of Google sometimes, because it's all of the standard stuff and money that's poured into search engine optimization. So for you to find the cutting edge stuff, you've got to be able to be into the journals and reading the stuff and knowing where to look and everything. So the great thing is when you tap in with what we do here in the Savvy team, then we get to sort of pre-digested for you. No, that might sound gross, but collect it all together, and you can tap in with the supportive community, and it just makes such a big difference. So many of our community members have just had lifestyle transformations because they sort of got off the bandwagon, the traditional bandwagon, onto more of a holistic approach. Anyway, time to get underway here with these anti-aging tips. If you have just joined, then do please share this information with someone that wants to slow aging either internally or externally. And the question of the day, by the way, today, and we'd love to hear from you, is let us know in the comments, what's your number one anti-aging tip? What do you feel has helped you to look and feel your best? Now, you might go, you don't understand. I need help. Nothing's helped me. That's okay. But, what have you tried? What are your thoughts? What have you heard? Share with us your thoughts. All right, let's get underway with these best anti-aging tips of all time. And number one, what I would suggest is to be careful of the hype. be careful of the hype. I guess the first tip even before that is don't assume it's too late. It's never too late, but it's never too early to begin the process of focusing on internal and external anti-aging. You know, the sooner the better, but obviously it's still important to take action. So first of all, I would say careful of the hype. Many of the well-marketed brand name products that are available in the shops and traditional outlets are loaded with potentially harmful ingredients. And what these things are designed to do is make the skin feel better in the short term, but you pay a long-term price with the degradation of the skin. Say, for example, many products are loaded with propylene glycol, and you've probably heard of that, but don't necessarily understand how it functions. It functions as a humectant. It holds moisture in the product. And what it also does when it's applied to your skin is it draws moisture to the surface of the skin. Now, that's all very well if you live in a fairly humid environment. It may be drawing moisture from the environment, but if you're in a drier climate or in winter time when it might be drier, it can be drawing the moisture from the lower layers of the skin to the surface. So the surface of your skin feels great, but it's actually being, the lower levels are being damaged and dehydrated. So, and then what happens, if you stop using that product, you go, gee, my skin's so dry. Gee, that product was really working. But actually it was working, but it was dehydrating your skin, so you want more of it and more of it. You know, so be careful with that, because also a lot of the pretty packages and celebrities, can fool you into thinking that this is the best product. And one of the interesting things in the marketing world is, and even in the regulatory world, is that people can endorse a product, but they can't actually necessarily even share a personal testimonial. Like, I use this product, I love this product, this is the product that I use. They can endorse it, but sometimes if they're being paid, they can't say, well, I use it. It's a weird system sometimes, but, you know, like here in the Savvy team, we'll be telling you, this is what we use, and we suggest the same. So, you know, we're not just saying don't do what we do. We are like, we do this stuff, and we encourage you, come do what we do. We're not just, you know, like, and that's the challenge I see with much in medicine and everything. You know, many doctors, when really asked, have sort of said, you know, they have doubts about the medication that they're prescribing, but it's the standard of care, so they just have to. And that doesn't, I believe in the natural world that we need to do what we need to share what we do, not just, you know, not just what we think might work for you. So individualized medicine's all very well, but, you know, it's about consumers paying it forward and saying, this is what's worked for me, maybe it would work for you. That's what we really believe anyway. So be careful of the hype, and don't let the pretty packages and marketing fool you, because a lot of the times in the shops too, the actual product doesn't have the level of therapeutic ingredients. So it might be in there, but it's sort of like the amount so small because more money is spent in advertising and packaging to get you to buy it than is spent on the actual product. So a lot of the best products don't come through traditional avenues. My experience anyway. So it does make me think of the movie, if you happen to have seen it, if you're a bit of a movie buff and you happen to have seen the movie with Halle Berry and Sharon Stone, Catwoman. And, you know, this follows a fictitious story, obviously, but it's about, you know, the Sharon Stone's character is running a cosmetic company, and she looked amazing using this special anti-aging cream. But if she stopped using it, everything fell apart. And that's probably a little bit more science than science fiction in terms of what goes on out there. Anyway. All right, so careful of the hype. Number 2 here, well, we have a whole collection. They won't be numbered here, so I'm just going to give it to you, a whole bunch of different tips. Skip the smokes, right? Really, there isn't much that ages you faster than smoking. It's probably, you know, it's not, you know that it's not great for your health, but many people don't understand that free radical damage from smoking significantly ages the skin. And obviously, if we're seeing aging skin from the outside, then the damage is also being produced inside. And then there's, of course, the action of the smoker's lips. And so, we've had many people that have said, look, I don't worry about my eyes. What I want to deal with is I used to be a smoker and I want to deal with all the creases in my lips. And we've been able to help them with some of the solutions that we use here. And so skip the smokes, but also, since we're talking about facial expressions and and puckering the lips and everything, skip the straw and be wary of these constant facial expressions that you might use all the time. So, the action of smoking or the action of using straws all the time will cause you to pucker your lips. And don't over pucker your lips, frown, squint your eyes, because this will all cause the excessive wrinkling. And you want to stop the aging process there. So any of those repeated facial movements are going to cause lines to form. Now, that's not to say that they can't be relaxed with natural means, but obviously that's why many women go for Botox. And so then they don't have any facial expressions. Nothing moves. Even if they try to smile, nothing moves. Well, there are much more natural approaches to that than injecting yourself with Botox. But skip the straw and be wary of these constant facial expressions, and maybe look for some external solutions to help you to smooth the lines and wrinkles, shall we say. One of the tips you'll see soon is to hydrate. So we definitely want to do that, but ease up on the booze. Certainly, alcohol can be very dehydrating and cause inflammation in the system and can rapidly age the skin. So you might want to go easy on the booze. Drink more water. Drinking adequate amounts of water throughout the day can really help your skin to stay hydrated, more youthful looking. And, while obviously drinking depends on your activity level and what else you're doing and how much you're sweating and all that sort of thing, drinking enough is really important, not only for your internal health and cleaning out your kidneys and keeping your detox pathways operating, but also for your skin. So in one of our free web classes, we went through and just talked about the importance of water and showed you some imagery of just one lady who upped the water intake, and she believed that it knocked 10 years off her face. So that's a quick tip. Just drink more water. It's not only going to optimize all of your body's systems, but it's actually going to help you look and feel younger too. Don't be picky. Don't be picky. Now, it's important to be picky with foods and the things that you do to look after yourself, but this is don't be picky. If you want to avoid pock marks and scarring that can actually make you look older, stop picking at your skin, all right? And stop picking at your skin pronto. If you're having a breakout or you're having adult acne or you're having these sorts of things, then don't pick, because the scarring can lead your skin to sort of look more damaged and less fresh, and even cause wrinkles because you're tugging at your skin. So you want to avoid that skin damage. Look, if you do have pock marks and deep scarring and orange peel skin and everything, I can relate. Because the technology that I've used over the years has really helped to find out those skin problems, get rid of open pores, orange peel skin, and lessen the pock marks, because I had severe acne as a teenager. And so just don't be picky. I know it's hard, but just avoid really picking at your skin and tugging at your skin. Leave it alone. Anyway. Okay, brighten up your smile. Brighten up your smile. Do something to, maybe whiten your teeth or whatever. Sometimes those teeth whitening things can be very harsh and chemical laden, and one of the things that you can do is just use very specific mouthwashes that have a whitening action over time and sort of clean in between the teeth, and so we highly recommend things such as the stabilized chlorine dioxide type of products that sort of have a whitening and get rid of the film, the food film on the teeth. And so that's certainly what I noticed. I worked in the restaurant industry, drank coffee, didn't really drink much red wine back then, but I had been thinking about getting some teeth whitening done, but I didn't want to because of the chemicals that are used, and I'm pretty cautious about the chemicals that I put on my body and into my mouth and eat, etc. And so then when I started to use some of these sorts of natural mouthwashes, I just noticed that I could spit out even into the white sink and notice the staining was coming off just from holding this in my mouth. So again, it can really, brightening up your smile can make you look fresher. So even though it's not slowing aging, it's about helping you to look fresher and more youthful. And that's why obviously this cosmetic dentistry nowadays is a very big business, because people have become aware of that. And then I would say to kick the chemicals. Now, I alluded to this before, but kick the chemicals. So important. So I would encourage you to have a safety-conscious skincare regimen. Okay? And so we go into this. So just as an example, so I mentioned before propylene glycol, but also the sulfates are in many of the typical products. These are harsh, they're corrosive, they're drying ingredients in most cleansers, body washes, shampoos. They can cause skin irritation and corrosion over time. They can lead to dryness. They can lead to more visible fine lines and wrinkles. So, you just want to avoid those sorts of things. And you've probably heard of sodium lauryl sulfate and all that sort of thing, but they can hide that by just calling it a synonym. So don't think that it's hard to become an expert label reader without also being a biochemist. So that's why we just turn to safety conscious companies that can really can help, that really know what they're doing. So we can help you in that area. Then there's things such as DEA, MEA, and TEA. These are the ammonia compounds. These are linked to cancer. They're in a lot of different personal care products as well as skincare products. They can be drying to the skin. They can cause allergic reactions. They can result in redness and inflammation and have a negative effect over the long term. Then there's things like mineral oil. You'll see them in many of the products out there, and they can clog the skin, form a film, and then hinder your body's ability to get rid of toxins. And so with extended use, they can irritate and inflame the skin and actually cause more wrinkles. So we go through this in the web class, the 9 nasties, 9 harmful chemicals that could be lurking in your bathroom. So you can check that out on our blog and also on the Facebook page. And here in the Savvy Team, we help you change to safer. So if you want a free report on some of this sort of thing, we have the 15 harmful ingredient warning report, and so you can ask us for that. And so even if you just leave us a comment, then follow the instructions, we can send that report across to you. So continuing here with the best anti-aging tips of all time. Get your beauty sleep. Get your beauty sleep. All right. We all know that sleep is important, and it's certainly an important part of looking after ourselves holistically. And it's good for the mind, it's good for the body, but it's certainly important for slowing aging. Repeatedly having a poor night's sleep will end up making you look older than you actually are, according to studies. So just after one particular example is they tracked 30 women, and they looked at their skin, and they examined their skin after a night of a full at least 8 hours sleep. Researchers measured the wrinkles, the pores, the brown spots, and the patchy red areas. The participants then slept for 6 hours or less for the next 5 nights before having their skin tested again. And the participants in the study had up to double the amount of fine lines and wrinkles, 3/4 more brown spots, and more dark circles under the eyes, just after 5 nights of not quite getting the sleep. So sleep deprivation, if it's continued over weeks, obviously has a worsening effect. Get some sleep. Get a posh pillowcase. So indeed, switching your pillowcase can not only help you get a better night's sleep, but researchers and dermatologists and estheticians and beauticians and that, from what I've been reading recently, they are recommending things such as a a silk pillowcase. So that's why I call it get a posh pillowcase. They say that it can fend off the fine lines and wrinkles because your skin will tend to slide more rather than sort of being tugged and creased all night. But also, it's less likely to absorb the moisture like many of the cotton will. So it's not going to dry your skin out as much. Interesting. You might want to try that. Get a posh pillowcase. So since we're talking about sleep, you might want to rethink your sleeping position. Because if you are sleeping face down or whatever against the pillow, then you are going to be causing more of that wrinkling. And so a lot of dermatologists recommend you to sleep on your back for the best anti-aging effect on your skin. Now, the trouble with this, there's no perfect situation here because there's much research that shows that, you've probably heard of sleep apnea and this sort of thing. And many people, although not diagnosed with sleep apnea, actually have problems with breathing on their back. So they're becoming oxygen depleted as they sleep. And this definitely has a negative impact on healthy aging of the body. So yes, while you might be on your back and not causing any wrinkles, if you're stopping breathing or snoring or having any of these sorts of issues, then it can cause problems internally with your body and your brain. So a lot of the research shows sleep on your side. But then if you sleep crunched up like that, and you might be creasing that, and a lot of dermatologists believe that the crinkling in the décolletage has happened from women sort of sleeping on their side like this and creasing that all up. So you may want to consider all of that, but rethink your sleeping position. I would ditch the late night snacks and the night caps. Obviously, limiting alcohol will slow aging anyway, since it's essentially a toxin and causes further free radical damage, especially depending on the drink. So obviously, there's the red wine, for example, that might have resveratrol, but also alcohol, that sort of like has more of a balancing effect. But when you're into things like beer and spirits and everything, it has all of the nasties without the beneficial effects. So, you're weighing those sorts of things up. But if you do indulge, being careful not to do it too late at night, because then what happens is your body's trying to metabolize the alcohol, and then you don't sleep properly, and your liver's overloaded, and it can mess up with your natural sleep cycle. So some of the tips to help you if you are going to go out and enjoy some alcohol is to use some of the liver herbs before you go. St. Mary's thistle, dandelion, those sorts of things. Broccoli, and we use a blend that's good for liver health. And then maybe even before you go to bed, charcoal tablets, activated charcoal tablets to absorb the toxins. That can help as well, can reduce that damaging effect. So avoid the late night snacks too, because the more you can create a little bit of time before you go to bed, the more you stimulate autophagy in the body and stimulate the actual cleansing aspect of sleep. Because what happens is if you're eating just before going to bed, there's more of the blood flow going towards your digestive system rather than going towards the other rejuvenative parts of the body. So, again, it's good for it's linked to Alzheimer's as well. Eating too late at night and not leaving time for your brain to clean up. This is actually known as the glymphatic system, the lymphatic system of the brain, and it needs time. So at least 3 hours before bed. So it's best to avoid eating at least 3 hours before bedtime. So avoid those late night snacks and nightcaps if you can. So I would, as I mentioned before about sleeping position, take care of your décolletage. So this is the obviously the neck and the chest area here, and the back of your hands. These are often the areas that show the signs of aging. And so continue your skincare regimen onto that. So whether that just means if you're doing the face that you keep going down there, and then also make sure that it goes onto the hands without using any extra, or that might mean continuing it onto your hands as well. So and also the skin under the neck tends to be thinner too, and so it tends to show the signs of age, and that's why you can end up saying, well, why does my skin look so good, but then I have turkey neck? And so, and that's just a function of the way the skin is thinner on the neck. So I would skip the harsh scrubs and be careful about that, because whilst exfoliating is a very good part of an anti-aging regimen, what often happens is a lot of them are just ground up walnuts and walnut shells and all this sort of thing, and it can actually damage the surface layers of the skin, leading to more inflammation and more rapid aging. So what you want is more of a polishing, sort of like a roll, lift, release polishing action on the skin. And so, yeah, just be careful of the harsh things. So one of the things, people feel as though, oh, look, that was a really good scrub, my skin feels squeaky clean. That's actually not ideal. You really want to do that more gently and leave your skin still feeling like it's got that natural layer, that natural sebum layer on the skin. And this is why in some of the technology products that we utilize, it includes things like the phytoceramides that can be extracted from wheat and other places that actually help to sort of rejuvenate that surface layer of the skin, that protective barrier. So really, really important to do that and to protect that barrier. All right, so get serious about the sunscreen if you're going to be out a lot. Now, I'm also a proponent of getting healthy sun exposure, and also being up early in the morning and seeing the early morning light and getting the early morning light on your face. But when we're dealing with during the day, obviously it's well known that the UVA can damage and age your skin faster. So you're wanting to use a safe sunscreen to protect your skin from the aging effects of UVA. And even just having an SPF in your in your general skincare can really make a difference, because we're just, even if you're not going out in the sun, so you're being exposed to UVA, to just the aging effects of the sun through a window. You're getting none of the beneficial UVB rays or any of the infrared lights and everything. It's all being filtered out through the glass, and you're getting just the aging stuff. So don't think that it's nice to sit near a window if you work in an office block, but you're probably getting a lot of just the aging stuff rather than the beneficial effects of the sun. So get outside more too. Get the healthy sunshine, but avoid just the light bombarding your skin. So, yeah, good on you, Cheryl, writing in here that I was hoping for a miracle cure. There are some miracle cures. Definitely, if you're looking for a miracle cure, any of you out there looking for a miracle cure, that's what our 10 Years Younger Challenge is all about. Amazing stuff, great technology. So have a look at that. But yeah, look, we all need to do all of these things. And the great thing about it is, even if we use the miracle cures, the more we can do these other things, the more it adds up. These aren't just, these lifestyle modifications aren't just additive, they're multiplicative. They multiply your effects. So yeah, anyway, get serious about your sunscreen. Keep it cool. Keep it cool. The cooler weather, actually, the thing is, in cooler weather, we end up with drier skin because of winds and all that sort of thing. But cold exposure helps the skin. So one of the things, we've talked about this in terms of activating the vagal tone and sort of helping the nervous system from stressful situations and all this sort of thing. You can do cold water face dunks. And so people who have done that to actually help other parts of the body to understand, because the vagus nerve innervates all sorts of aspects of the body, and people feel so much better, reduce their stress levels when they do this. And one of the ways of doing that is cold face dunks, so ice water face dunks. And people who've done this have said, my goodness me, my skin feels softer, it feels more plump, it feels better. So keep it cool. And, even if that just means you use cold water to after you wash your face or whatever, splash with cold water. It's good to use warm water to open up the pores and to cleanse away the dirt within the pores, but finish with cold water. And if you're brave enough, that also means finish your shower with a cold splash, and maybe even put your face into the water, and then that will also be very good for your vagal tone. Topic for another time, outside of anti-aging, but still important. I would say to hydrate your skin, not just oil it. When you think of many moisturizers, this is the oil phase without the water phase. So many people just keep putting moisturizer and moisturizer and moisturizer, and they say my skin's so dehydrated, and it always feels dry, and then it goes and looks oily. So they go, how come it looks so oily? Because what happens is if your skin's dehydrated, then it's producing more of that protective sebum, and it becomes oilier because you haven't balanced the oil and water phases in the skin. And that's why you see in many of our things that we teach in our complexion rejuvenation experience and things like that, where we actually talk about the importance of that water phase, adding the hydration in. And that was the thing. I suffered from oily skin and problem areas and blackheads and all these sorts of things, and yet still had dehydrated, dry skin, taut skin. And part of that was because they put me on Roaccutane as for my acne, and it never really sorted itself out. It's supposed to all go back to normal, and I've just ended up with dry skin and mucous membranes since then. Never went back to normal like it was supposed to. And so then that led me to have to realize I have to look after myself more than just average skin. And so that's when I learned about this moisture phase, and it made all the difference for me. So when I added in the moisture phase by using hydrating activator type of products, it actually balanced out the oil production, and my skin got better. So because my skin was needing the moisture, not the oil. So, and that's why many people with problem skin, they don't need a moisturizer, they need more hydration. So hydrate your skin and it will look better. And this is also the issue with more mature skin. It loses the hydration because the hyaluronic acid that we talked about is decreasing. And that's the ability for that's the moisture retention ability of the skin is decreasing. So you want to hydrate your skin. And so especially the ladies know that you shouldn't go to bed with your makeup on. That's an anti-aging no-no. So I would say to actually have a nighttime skincare regimen, because this is when your skin is going through its restorative repair work. So you want more of the protective things during the day. Your skincare regimen should be more protective, and more of the things that protect you from the external environmental triggers. And then at nighttime, it should be more rejuvenative. So that's where it's important to have both sides of things. So definitely have a nighttime skincare regimen. And if you're looking for help in that area, we certainly have some access to amazing solutions that are safe in that particular area. All right, let's move on to some internal stuff. And I would suggest that you eat real food. In fact, we have on the blog the 12 steps to get started on the Eat Savvy diet. You start to follow that, you will notice a huge difference. So we have a cheat sheet that you can download really to help you to choose healthier food choices. So one of the things that we'll be talking about is to limit the caffeine, but I'm going to have a little bit right now nonetheless. Much better. So eat real food. Anyway, it's just going to make such a big difference. And so since we're talking about real food, learn to cook. Learn to cook. Learn to get creative and everything. See, the challenge when you don't know how to cook and everything, when you eat out more or eat more packaged food, you're getting a lot of the additives. And a lot of these additives are inflammatory, even in whole foods. Like for example, now you can buy marinated everything already in packets. And while that may seem like it's time saving, if you start to look at the label, you've got the wrong sorts of fats, you've got colorings, flavorings, maybe MSG in there. And these are all can be toxic to the liver. They can be anti-inflammatory to the body. So you're actually you might be eating good foods, but it's then been contaminated by these additives to make it taste better. And so just be careful with that, because it doesn't often take that much time to learn how to do things at home. So take, for example, mayonnaise. Like I was one, I would buy the best sorts of things, the cheap thing to begin with, then the best things. And it's like, I wasn't something that I was good at making. Then I said, right, I have to clean things up, eat only the good oils. And then when I realized how simple it was to make mayonnaise, I was eating one of those organic ones that's full of soybean oil, which is inflammatory and not good for you, and a whole bunch of other additives and everything. And now, like within a minute, I can bang together my own mayonnaise. Learn to cook. Just a whiz. We've got a recipe, in fact, on the blog. Zoop, boom, done. You don't need to run to the shop. It saves you money. You get better quality stuff. You can put the healthy oils in there. And so if you learn these sort of tips and tactics and you tap in with the sorts of things that we do here in the Savvy Team, then you're going to really set yourself up and set your family up for better health for the long term, and you'll be slowing aging too. So might seem like a weird one, but the more you can learn about cooking and about how to put things together, the freer you're actually going to feel, because it's simple and that you'll actually be slowing aging. So since we're talking about diet, cut back on the sugar and carbs. It's not just about your teeth. It's not just about diabetes. It's not just about the inflammatory disorders that you'll hear us talking about, cutting back on sugar because it's related to all those sorts of things. But it's also a major contributor to the loss of firmness and elasticity in the skin. See, it's been linked to these, what they call AGEs, advanced glycation end products. So if you have too much sugar and carbs, and especially cooked sugar and carbs, then you're basically clogging up the mechanics in the body, the machinery in the body, the cellular machinery, your mitochondria, but you're also damaging the production of the collagen and elastin fibers in the body too. So, the more sugar you have, the more you're going to be having troubles right across the board. I would scale back on the table salt. And so this is the thing, a lot of packaged foods just loaded with the typical table salt as well. And this can cause imbalances between sodium and potassium and in the body. And this can lead to dehydration in the skin, all sorts of things there. So just go easy on the table salt. But that doesn't mean that you have to go salt-free. You want to move to more of the natural salts, the Himalayan salts, the Celtic sea salts, and all of these sorts of things as well. And natural minerals. We're big on mineral supplementation here in the Savvy Team because it makes such a big difference to your overall well-being. So you want to up the antioxidants and vitamin C, because antioxidants and vitamin C in particular are linked to collagen synthesis. So when we think about this, if we go back to what scurvy was, so scurvy was then found to be a vitamin C deficiency. Some of the early signs of scurvy were they would feel a little bit tired and worn out. Then they would start to bleed more easily and bruise more easily. Then they might have loose teeth and gums. Then they'd have internal bleeding and die. And this, what's happening, and so you just think about it. Do you have gum problems? Do you have easy bruising? Do you have these signs? Do you have lethargy? These are some of the early warning signs of antioxidant depletion. And so what happens is, because the antioxidants and vitamin C are implicated in collagen synthesis, in the building of collagen, it was the external signs that degrade first, because the body's trying to keep the vessels and the heart functioning. You don't want the internal bleeding. And so scurvy was really that degradation of collagen from an antioxidant deficiency. So if we can keep antioxidant levels high in the diet and through supplementation, then you're going to be keeping collagen synthesis high. And so an antioxidant-rich diet, the Savvy diet, will get you there. And that doesn't mean just eating bucket loads of the sweet ascorbic acid or whatever. It's actually getting natural vitamin C and antioxidants from your diet and through supplementation, grapeseed extract, pine bark extract, those sorts of things, because those ingredients can recycle vitamin C as well. But more of the natural things, like don't throw out your lemon peel. You can even dry that and grind it up and use that as, or put it into smoothies. That's rich in vitamin C as well, especially if you're getting non-waxed citrus, those sorts of things. So might want to try that. Up your antioxidants. Prioritize your gut health. So, your skin issues are deeper than what you think. Getting your gut health in order is the first step. So it's a lot of the times when someone has a skin issue like dermatitis, psoriasis, or even just breakouts, we then go internally and look at the gut. Now, this is not new in the natural health arena. So, gut health is intricately linked to skin health. So if we get rid of the gut inflammation and clean up the gut and clean up the detox pathways of the body, then the skin improves. This has happened with countless community members. But this is also an anti-aging tactic as well. The more you can balance the gut and the gut microbiome, the more that is actually going to be reflected in a more vibrant complexion as well. So since we're prioritizing your gut health, it would be a good idea to focus on some fermented foods and probiotics, because these are the things that really nourish your long-term gut health and the health of your microbiome. So as I was saying before, cool it with the caffeine. I could tell you fibs and tell you that is a herbal tea, but it is a cup of coffee. So, good coffee, not instant, good stuff. Anyway. But I mean, the challenge is that many people are drinking too much caffeine and not enough water, and so they're actually experiencing dehydration, and so therefore that is part of the problem. Caffeine in and of itself and coffee in and of itself can be very advantageous, has some antioxidants, has some bioflavonoids, can be really good for the actual gut health, and is less damaging than I think is made out to be, because obviously you don't want to overdo it, but you want good quality coffee if you're going to drink it. Not just drinking bucket loads of what I call plastic coffee, which is instant coffee and everything, looking for the best that you can get. Okay, or otherwise definitely drink less of it. But generally caffeine can be dehydrating, so you just got to be careful with that. Turn up the turmeric. Okay, so turn up the turmeric, or turmeric if you say it like that. It is really anti-inflammatory. So you've probably heard plenty about getting more of this. It's more of the curcumin that's in there. So one of the downsides of people just saying, I have teaspoons full of turmeric or turmeric, or I put it in my smoothies. It's actually not very well absorbed. The curcumin is not very well absorbed from that, so you get very small amount. So you can enhance absorption with a bit of pepper and by having it with a fat. So when you think about the cultures such as Indian, so in India, what's a curry? Curry's rich in turmeric, it has pepper, and it comes along for the ride with a fat, whether that be ghee or coconut milk or yogurt or whatever. And so that's the traditional cuisine. It has fat in there. Or if it's not with that, it's with a fatty cut of meat. And so you're getting all of the rich benefits of the curcumin there. But otherwise, you want to take it as part of an antioxidant supplement when it's been extracted. Then it's much more absorbable when it's already in the standardized curcumin form. Okay? But I mean, hey, I put your turmeric lattes, all of those sorts of things, more turmeric, more curries, all good stuff. So turn up the turmeric in your recipes, and you'll reduce inflammation. And in particular, it has a really powerful affinity for reduction of inflammation in the dermis of the skin too. So, and if you reduce the inflammation, then you improve blood flow to the skin, and when there's too much inflammation, you're going to cause a degradation in collagen and elastin in the skin and all that sort of thing. So rampant inflammation in the body is linked to so many different health disorders. It's not hard to believe that it's also linked to rapid aging. So looking for an anti-inflammatory diet, like the Eat Savvy diet, would be a good idea. Eat plenty of nutrients and antioxidants and all that sort of thing in your diet. All right. So I would supplement based on that. It's just nowadays, it just doesn't make any logical sense when we look at the statistics that most people do not get. So most people do not get the vegetables to reach the needed nutrient level. And so that I don't know why any sensible person nowadays, especially a medical professional, would say that all you need is a balanced diet, because it's so difficult to get the needed nutrients. And even Dr. Weston Price, when he studied all of the cultures around the world, what he found was that I think it's 4 times the mineral intake. So he studied these cultures and compared it to in the typical Western diet, and he was a dentist looking at why do people get disease and why do they have so many dental cavities. And when he went to the cultures that had no dental cavities and no disease, he found by studying the food that there was 4 times the mineral content and 10 times the vitamin content, 10 times especially the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, those sorts of things. So, and what he found is that they were eating the rich foods. They were eating bone broths and liver and the offal and all of these sorts of things that were rich in these micronutrients. So since nowadays almost no one eats those rich animal foods, and then statistics show that almost no one eats enough vegetables, supplementation is just logical. Okay, so should we also supplement our diet with some of these richer foods? Yeah, because we'll prevent disease and look and feel our best too. Look after our fangs. So, supplement. And that's where you might want to look at our 90 nutrient program. So, we have what we call our Savvy 90 program, which is just through a handful of products, helps you get all of the things like vitamins, minerals, amino acids, green superfoods, essential fatty acids, all of the things that you need to optimize your well-being just in one program. So that might be something that you might want to look into. But obviously eating more of those foods that Dr. Weston Price recommended can be a good idea too. So generally reduce inflammation. So looking at ways to reduce inflammation through the body really makes such a difference. So inflammation is one of the main causes that skin tends to look weathered and worn before its time. So the best way to keep the skin healthy and slow the aging process is to reduce inflammation generally. So that's why I mentioned the turn up the turmeric. So again, anti-aging, an anti-inflammatory diet is also an anti-aging diet. So the Eat Savvy diets, I would encourage you to look at that. And look, the great thing about what we've done with the Eat Savvy diet, we're not trying to say this is the right way. You've got to be keto, you've got to be paleo, you've got to be vegan, you've got to be this, you've got to be that. What it is it's looking at whatever diet you're currently eating. Let's help you find the most nutrient dense and least toxic choices within your diet. And let's start from there, and then let's build upon that and follow some of the principles there. So the 12 principles that we have, like skip the sugar and reduce the dairy and all that sort of thing, you can follow those, but there's no hard and fast rules, because we understand that we're all alike as humans, but we're also all different. We all have different unique heritage. And so that's one of the things that Dr. Weston Price found, that although all around the world they ate differing diets, there was a theme, and they were all nutrient dense. And interestingly enough, one of his disappointments is, because he really thought that a vegetarian-like diet was the way to go. One of his disappointments is that he didn't find any culture that had multi-generational wellness, good dental health, that did not seek out rich, nutrient-dense animal product. So it was actually a disappointment for him, because he really did believe that it was best to be vegetarian. I was once like that too. I was vegetarian for 10 years. And then I also came across the work of Weston Price, and I was sort of disappointed in a way, but it didn't serve me. And so whatever it is, I'm not saying that you need to change your diet, but just find the most nutritious choices within the diet that you're using, and then just really experiment from there. We've really basically got to reduce inflammation and get as much nutrients as we can to prevent disease and premature aging. So another thing, by the way, related to that, Dr. Price was so disappointed. He was a devout Methodist, and he really believed, like, he wrote the book Nutrition and Physical Generation in 1939, so this is like early days, and he was disappointed that it was actually the missionaries, the church missionaries, going into these primitive cultures that took the white man's food in there, the sugar, the flour, and all of that sort of thing. And he saw that when they adopted these white man foods, the disease developed, their teeth declined. So he was so disappointed about that too, because the primitive cultures looked up to these missionaries coming in, and so believed everything that they said and started to eat the wrong foods, and their health declined. So we've got to go back to traditional foods, and if we want to slow aging and look and feel our best. Speaking about that, managing your weight makes such a big difference. Don't let those little indulgences turn into the extra kilos, because weight gain is linked to a lot of these inflammatory issues and etc. But it's also perceived as making you look older. So, for example, the double chin changes your face shape and makes you look older. And then when you lose the weight, even for me, I joke and say I don't have a jaw, but I held a bit of excess weight for a fair bit of time, and so that sort of meant I had this fat sort of, not fat neck really, but I keep going, okay, we've got to tighten this up here, because that's not like it used to be from having that excess weight for a longer period of time. So the more you can look after your skin, mind you, I'm working on that with all of the collagen enhancing factors, but that's another story. Anyway, so so you lose the weight, really just makes such a big difference in your overall health and your insulin resistance and your risk of cardiovascular disease, your risk of cancer, but also it can make you look younger, and also slow aging from an inflammatory point of view. Now, that being said, a lot of the times when people have lost a lot of weight, sometimes they can look like, if they've held the weight for a long time because of the plumpness of their skin and they've lost a lot of weight, they sort of can look older, because again, it's the loss of the plumpness from the fat being under the skin. That's why we need to again make sure we do something to replenish the hyaluronic acid in the body, so that the skin again becomes more firm and plump, because it's the hyaluronic acid that holds the moisture in the skin. And so again, if you've lost a lot of weight, then something like our 10 years younger challenge might be what you're looking for to help you to really rejuvenate the skin tissue. So manage your weight, and so really looking at the Eat Savvy diet would be something that I would encourage you to do. It's a free download that's available from our website. We also have a masterclass on that, so you can really delve into a lot of information. And it's 12 steps to get started that's available on the blog. So really, really simple to just follow that and just do it gradually. Just start somewhere. Make a plan to gradually change over some of the things in your household. But if you're wanting to get serious about weight loss, then you might want to look at one of our weight management programs. Okay, so really, we can help. Just let us know how can we help you. One of the programs might be helpful. Our body transformation challenge, our rapid fat loss protocol. We have a new intake for that starting soon, so that might be something that you might want to look at. But how can we help you? All right, so let's move on here. I would encourage you to take a holistic approach. So looking after your skin, many people think of anti-aging as just skin deep, but focusing on the whole body will make such a big difference. And if you think about it sensibly, like really, your skin, the external signs of aging start first, and it's sort of like a warning sign that the body's not coping. And so if you look vibrant and your skin looks fantastic and you're looking well and your hair's healthy, that's an indicator that the cellular nature of your body and your digestion and everything, your absorption, is all working well. Whereas when you're suffering from the visible signs of aging, it's sort of a bit of a warning sign that there's some stuff going on inside. So that's why we really are best to focus holistically, not just on the external signs of aging. And this is where if we just have constant external procedures done, it's just polishing the car. Really, it's not doing anything for the mechanics that are going on inside. Make exercise a priority. It's so important for circulation, for muscle improvement, for all-round movement of the lymphatic system. For exercise just helps with everything. So even anti-aging. I would manage your stress, learn to really chill out a little bit, trying to de-stress as much as possible, because again, getting too stressed out jacks up your cortisol levels, and these end up triggering a cascade of stress hormones, and inflammation sets up in the body. And this doesn't only make you feel bad, but it can make you look older than you are too, because too much inflammation can again trigger the degradation of collagen and elastin fibers in the body too. So yep, really important. But stand up straight. In fact, stand up more often and move more often too. Experts are starting to say that sitting is the new smoking. The damage that's caused by the fact that we are such a sedentary population, and even our bodies changing because of the fact that we sit all day. So we're ending up with imbalances, tight hamstrings, and that throwing our posture out, and forward head posture, and all of these sort of things. And this is not only going to make us look old, but it's going to throw out the natural balance of the body. And then that's where, if we don't have structural integrity, we end up with imbalances in the body, and then we have a knee that's not working properly because there's too much pressure on that because of the imbalance, or a hip that's out or whatever. And then this is the thing: if we can maintain structural integrity and keep our body fluid and moving, then we're going to actually slow aging much more. Hit the sauna. It's a fantastic way of detoxifying your body and really improving the skin's function as far as elimination of chemicals. So great way to slow aging, because again, chemicals can really age you faster, and the sweating it out is one of the primary ways that your body can remove chemicals. Get your on. This is sort of linked to stress reduction and relaxation, but meditation has been linked to, again, a lessening of the stress response, to improved sleep, and to all-round better outcomes for disease. And so therefore has a very natural anti-aging, anti-inflammatory response on the body. So the more we can sort of just chill and relax and get more connected, the better. And that doesn't necessarily need to be traditional meditation. It might be just mindfulness. It might be focusing on your breathing. It might be getting out and emptying your mind and going for a walk and getting into nature, those sorts of things. So then after you've got your on, you might want to get it on more often. So a lot of experts are talking about the changes in the physiology and the hormones that function when you are more sexually active, and it has a natural anti-aging effect on the body. And this is similar to the hormonal changes that go on when we talk about exercise, especially exercise like weight training, high intensity training, so muscle-centric exercise, things that build up your muscle integrity, really. That's one of the biggest biomarkers for aging. So, but anyway, exercise can be can trigger hormonal improvement. So can getting it on more often. All right, strive for a purpose. There's no doubt when researchers have looked at some of the most long-lived cultures around the world, they have a strong sense of community as well as purpose. they really feel connected even if they don't feel like they're changing the world, they feel like they're there for a reason. They don't feel dejected in what they're doing in life. Okay, so strive for having a real purpose in life, a real purpose and vision and reason for getting up in the morning and getting out there. Kick it with young people. Spend more time with young people. This is one of the interesting things that we don't, our culture doesn't really support the cross networking of the age brackets as much as it could. And so, even the old school sort of concept of apprenticeships often mean that a young person is learning from an old person, more mature, I should say, and so they have the mentorship, and the mature person has the youth and the passing on their wisdom and the kicking it with the young people. So again, we're in a situation where we have people not mixing as much. Like, I'm now retired, and so I'm traveling around with other retired people, and all you see is people the same sorts of age brackets and everything. So the more you can mix it up and enjoy time with different age brackets, it sort of keeps you more youthful. Kick it with the young. Activate autophagy. Now, autophagy is really your body's own self-cleaning mechanism. Now, how can we activate autophagy? Cleaning up your diet, trying to activating fasting, like intermittent fasting, time-restricted feeding. So this is where, for example, I mentioned earlier, avoid eating up to 3 hours before bedtime. But also, if you can try to go at least 12 hours overnight without eating, this is actually kicking in. It's causing your body to kick in its self-cleaning mechanisms. And so they've even done research that if people were unwilling to change their diet, if they just restricted their time for eating it, they still lost weight and felt better. So if you're not willing to change your diet and follow the Eat Savvy diet, if you just restricted your eating window to, for example, only 8 hours in a day, and then you fasted for 16, the science shows that because of this activation of autophagy, you're actually going to slow aging. You could even lose weight, and you could decrease your risk of disease, even just by just eating the same foods but changing the timing, because you're giving your body time to clean up. So that's a really good anti-aging tactic there. But there's lots of other things that can activate autophagy as well, and we build them into many of our programs. But another one is naps are not just for nanas. All right? Naps are not just for nanas. So if you like a little bit of a nana nap, then it's actually can be good for you. The research has shown that just a quick rejuvenative nap really helps to reduce the stress hormones, really helps to change, because again, not sleeping too well can trigger excess inflammation and challenges in the body. So just a quick nap can really rejuvenate your body. So naps are not just nanas. It's okay if you feel like you need a quick kip. Cultivate a positive outlook on life. When you look at the long-lived cultures around the world, and those who even who are even fathering children into their older years, for example, they are positive, community-minded, and when we look at the blue zones around the world, this is a function of them. They're positive, they're social. So staying social can make such a difference there. Staying connected, being with people, not isolating yourself, just being happy, being positive, looking at the bright side of life, being a bit Pollyanna and looking for the good in everything. And really, when I was talking about activating autophagy, I meant to have these two together, because really working with your circadian biology also slows aging. So one of the things that one of the challenges that we have today is that we stay up too late, being exposed to TV and radiation, EMFs and toxic blue light, and we don't spend much time out in the sunshine, in nature and all that sort of thing. And so this messes our circadian rhythm up. And our body clock, when the Chinese knew this, the Chinese medicine followed, and they saw that the body goes through a process of each organ going through its time to sort of receive energy and to rejuvenate and all that sort of thing. And so when we don't follow the typical circadian rhythm, then we suffer. And this is well known for, by anyone who does night shift or who pulls all-nighters. You just don't feel right and you feel more tired, or your gut starts to do weird things and all this sort of thing. So the more you can follow the natural circadian rhythm, the better off you're going to be. So practice gratitude and appreciation. Really cultivate that. This is another one of the things that right across the board that we see in the cultures that live long, happy, and less disease than we experience here. And so get some R&R. Really do think about this. Is linked to the stress reduction as well, but it's, there are some things that we can do just to reduce stress, but the more you can then disconnect and do some of the rest and rejuvenation things, whether that's fun or whether that's just relaxation, get some R&R. You'll notice that it makes a difference in the way you feel and can also make a huge difference in the way you look. And that's, of course, there's a few reasons why when you come back from a holiday, people go, oh my God, you're looking so good. The holiday did you well. Yes, it's the sunshine, probably. A lot of people go to sunny places and they get outdoors more, so they get the beneficial effects of the sunshine and the vitamin D, mood lift, and all the other benefits. They're probably less in front of blue light and toxic light all the time. And indeed, they've got some R&R. They've actually become rested and they look and feel younger. And across the board, the cultures that live long, happy lives have a sense of community. They have a sense of contribution. They feel like there's something that they are living for. And so the more you can have a supportive community around you, the better. And that's what we've really recognized here in the Savvy team. That's an issue for many people, that they just don't have a community. And that's really why we have the system that we have. So request an invitation into our community. And then we can, you can fill out one of our How Can We Help surveys so we can find out what your needs are. And then we can help you come up with a plan, guide you along the journey, and really tap you in with the community. It's so good to have other people who are sort of on the same page, on a journey. It's very difficult sometimes when you feel like you're on your own, trying to traipse through the jungle of what to do about health and wellness, and you don't know where to turn, all that sort of thing. So the community is there to help you. All right. So let's go on with some other tips for anti-aging, and you could try microneedling, derma rolling, for example. That helps with collagen synthesis on the outside. Not too comfortable. It actually means that you are rolling needles over your face and causing micro damage that upregulates collagen synthesis. There are some safer and tastier ways to do it than that. I say tastier because here in the Savvy team we recommend some actual liquid collagen hyaluronic matrix supplements. So it's just an easy way to upregulate collagen synthesis. Red light therapy. So, you may have seen these red light LED masks. They certainly do upregulate collagen synthesis. So you could try those sorts of things. But even just a facial massage. So getting your significant other to actually give you a bit of a massage on the face. This can relax the muscles. It can improve the circulation. Otherwise, go and have a facial. But, again, whether that's going to happen all that often is another thing. So boosting collagen synthesis. Now, I mentioned this before in that antioxidants can do that. Making sure that your diet is less inflammatory. Having all the right nutrition there. Even making sure you're getting the collagen from bone broths and all that sort of thing. But if you're looking to slow aging, we actually want to trigger the upregulation of collagen synthesis, as well as hyaluronic acid as well. And so you can only do that with bio-optimized supplementation. And so that's what we use here in the Savvy team. So, you'll want to look at that if you're really serious about slowing aging. And that also is linked to saying hello to hyaluronic acid. So say hello to hyaluronic acid. Let me just fix that up. So say hello to, say hello to hyaluronic acid, because this is the thing. If you can restore, remember when I showed you that graph earlier, hyaluronic acid is what keeps the skin plump and moist and really retains the moisture. And so when we age, we see the moisture levels in our skin go down, and we see the functional structure and integrity of our skin go down. And so if we can restore collagen synthesis and restore hyaluronic acid in the body and reduce the actual enzyme hyaluronidase that actually causes the skin to age faster, then we can really look and feel our best. And that's the sort of technology that we utilize in the 10 Years Younger Challenge. Okay, so won't go into that in depth there, but we have a masterclass on that particular technology. Add in the adaptogens. Look, adaptogenic herbs are just fantastic for helping the regulation of all of the body's systems. And the cultures such as the Chinese medicine knows this well, that there are many herbs that can upregulate pathways in the body. They recognize that the energy patterns in the body and upregulating your chi, your vital essence, and all of this sort of thing in your body, that it had effects on slowing aging. And so we actually have an article on 5 herbs in Chinese medicine that are linked with anti-aging and well-being. So you can look that up. But it's just amazing, these adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha and even like cordyceps sinensis, the medicinal mushroom. These are all really powerful in their impact at slowing aging internally. All right, so I would say when we're dealing with the skin in this particular image, for example, hit the problem areas. So we've been dealing fairly holistic here, and we do believe in holistic, but if you have some problem areas with your skin, they're the things that are bringing you down, that are making you look older than you are, for example. So these are we deal with these being the 10 most common signs of aging. It might be puffiness under the eyes, it might be crow's feet, it might be furrows, it might be loose skin. So you can target those specific areas. And so we have very specific product solutions that can help with those sorts of targeted areas, whatever that may be for you. And this is where focusing holistically is really a good idea, but if there's one particular area that's bringing you down, then targeting that certainly can help you look younger quicker. But I would encourage you to have an inside-outside 360-degree routine. So if you're really serious about slowing aging, looking, feeling your best, living a long and happy life, then having a proper 360 anti-aging wellness regimen would be really, really helpful. And that's in essence what our 10 Years Younger Challenge is all about. It's really a 12-week challenge just to give you the confidence to go, wow, if that many changes can happen for me in 12 weeks, in just a few months, then if I stick with this, what can actually happen? And so obviously it's more focused on the external signs of aging, but if you're looking for a program and you're looking for a plan to follow and some support and guidance along the way, then I would encourage you to check out our 10 Years Younger Challenge. And right now, our 10 Years Younger Challenge has been, we've been getting great results all around the world with this particular program, but we're just sort of rejuvenating our key rejuvenation program with some new technology, because we have a new anti-aging skin system that we're using within the 10 Years Younger Challenge, and that's been available in other parts of the world, but it's just launching in the Australia, New Zealand region right now. And so we have some information on that within our Healthy, Wealthy, Wise private Facebook group. So you might want to request an invitation into that group and we can point you towards that information. So there you have it. They're the best anti-aging tips of all time. And as I said, I somehow feel that this might end up being somewhat of a growing list. And we'll continue to develop and add more, and maybe even put this out on the blog for you to really be able to digest some of it and practice some of it and all that sort of thing. But a lot of this is all incorporated in many of our programs, for our members anyway. So if you're already part of the community, we got your back. So look, if you're not yet part of the community, this is one of the things that we really, really teach there, that we believe there are 4 pieces of the puzzle to help you reach a higher level of wellness. You're going to want a plan to follow, some sort of a plan to help you get there, some specific solutions. You'll want guidance, and you'll want community. Because when we look at all of those different things that we just talked about, if you don't want to have to sort of feel like you're alone and not know where to turn and not have support, not have places to ask questions and get answers and everything, then it can be a struggle. Wellness can be a struggle. Whereas when you have a support team, then, it's people who have got your back, then it just makes life so much easier. And so that's what we're doing here in the Savvy team. We're putting together a fully integrated, holistic wellness and disease prevention support system. And, we've already got so much there, but it's just growing and growing each and every month and each and every year. So we're just so excited about the impact that it's having, and our philosophies, our overall wellness philosophy on many communities around the place. So it's sort of like this, it's like you choose. Today I choose. Love this little note. It might be simple, but today I choose to be healthy. Because, each and every day you make choices that are either taking you towards longevity and wellness, or they're taking you towards disease and premature death. So how old you are, that's your business, but how young you look and feel, that is our passion. We're just so passionate about helping you to slow aging, look, feel your best here in the Savvy team. So heaps of information on our blog, so you can check that out. But obviously, becoming an insider would be the best path forward for you. So we would love to know, how can we help you? How can we help you? So you can go to our join in link on the, just go to the Savvy team page, so savvy-team.com, request an invitation there. Let us know, fill out the how can we help survey. Let us know, how can we help you? And then what we can do is help you come up with a plan. Now, if you already have been dealing with a Savvy Team Wellness Guide, then probably the best thing to do is to get in touch with them, and then they can maybe send you a link and include you into our community as well. So that's been it for the healthy part of the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show. If you've just joined us recently, Corey Sievers here with the Savvy team, and we've been talking about the best anti-aging tips of all time. But it's about time that we moved on to talking about the wealthy and the wise part of the show. But if you are new to what we do here in the Savvy team, we help you enjoy improved health and lifestyle. Now, in this session, in the wealthy and wise session, we're actually going to deal with what I call or what I've called this session, the lost mode of prayer. And we would love if you have any inspiration or insights from that, if you please do share it. But the lost mode of prayer, what on earth do I mean by that? Well, what I'm going to do is take you through some information and just read a little bit from this particular book, The Isaiah Effect by Greg Braden. This is, I'm I don't probably read that many. I don't read that many real physical books nowadays. It's all Kindle books or audio books and all that sort of thing now. But I do love some of these things. You might notice some books on the shelf. I have always been fairly passionate about knowledge and learning and personal growth, as well as wellness improvement. And this was an interesting book for me that sort of, I won't go into the depth, I guess, of where it came across it and all that sort of thing. But you know how sometimes things sort of just, they come across your path at the right time and they jump out at you and everything. And this was that book. And so what I want to do is I've covered some different aspects of this book. We've included into many of our personal growth programs and used some of the thoughts in here to trigger conversations and workshops in our personal growth events and workshops. And so I want to sort of mention some of these things to you to maybe make you think about these sorts of things. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this as well. So please do share if you have any particular thoughts. So it's almost like what I'm saying to you here, settle down, I have a bit of a story for you. So share a bit of story with you here about the lost mode of prayer. And this is, book by Greg Braden. See whether I can set this up so we don't get... So I don't have the thing making noises as I'm resting the book on the keyboard here. All right. Lost mode of prayer. And this is actually one of the sort of chapter headings in Braden's book, but there are a few things that I want to share with you, just bits and pieces that you might find hugely valuable. So one of the things here is... One of the initial things that I wanted to mention is his indication of this concept of quantum physics and how it's implicated in all of these things that we do. So he said, I've lost the bit that I wanted to read to you. All right. So he says modern scientists give careful consideration to these possibilities and these connective events that they call choice points. And this is an interesting concept, because if you've ever seen the old movie, it's an old movie called Mr. Destiny with Michael Caine and James Belushi. And he sort of said that there are in there, it's like saying there are points in your life when a decision takes your life off into a totally different direction. And Braden alludes to this in terms of, and even connecting it with the quantum physics and the choice points that can happen there. And sort of, the quantum physics, they talk about the potential of these parallel universes, that it's almost like a different life for you exists simultaneously in many dimensions, is what quantum physics puts forward. And that there are times when these paths come close, and these are the choice points where our life can spin off in a totally different direction. And so if you you may have experienced that in terms of, so you may have experienced this in terms of times in your life when you've had a decision that's taken you off in a totally different direction. And they've actually proven that to be somewhat, proven that with quantum physics. Look at things. So what that was the other bit that I wanted to share with you. So think about that in terms of, I would encourage you to think about your life in the past, and have there been times when, there was a definite choice point where you could see that, because I chose that, I went that direction, whereas because I chose that, I went that direction, and what could have been different. It's not to say that there was any wrong choice, but it's interesting that we have these choice points in life. But one of the core things is that looking at these choice points, this is referenced by in actually a quantum mechanics, the relative state formulation of quantum mechanics, written in a 1957 paper. And what the writer of this paper actually called them was these choice points. And he said that this is where conditions appear that create a path between the present course of events and a new course leading to new outcomes. The choice point is like a bridge, making it possible to begin one path and change course to experience the outcome of an entirely new path. The tools that make such a jump possible are found in beliefs, in the thoughts, in the feelings, and the emotions of the new reality already being in place. And so this is, talking about in 1957 about, even looking at quantum mechanics. And yet we've heard this in personal growth sorts of things. If you can imagine it already done, then it helps you to skip to that new path. So what have you been really wishing that you could change in your life? What have you, is there a goal, a particular goal that you want to achieve in life? Are you capable? What's your visualization skill like? Are you capable of jumping into the picture and seeing it as already done? What Braden's writing about here with some of these points is it's sort of like what it's doing is helping you to, even if you're on a different path, it's helping you to somewhat even skip dimensions to the new path that will take you to that faster. But what we have to do is we have to imagine it if it's already done. That's why affirmations, we don't say, I wish I had a successful career. You say, I am so happy and grateful that I right now am enjoying my successful career in this. You act as if you stated in the now, because the subconscious doesn't realize the difference between imagined reality and the real reality. So that's what I'm meaning by this lost mode of prayer and what Braden's really referring to here. So what I want to do is read a particular segment that I've often read in our personal growth sessions, and I want you to just settle down here. So I'm actually reading a story that he shares in here that I think that's really helpful in understanding what this is all about. So I reached over my shoulder and pulled a fresh bottle of water from my backpack. It was only 11 o'clock in the morning, and already the high desert sun had penetrated the thick nylon, sapping any remaining coolness from the bottle. For weeks now, the warnings had been issued. No campfires, no burning of refuse. Even tossing a cigarette from the window of a moving vehicle could be subject to a hefty fine. This was the third year of drought in the American desert Southwest. Though it was a time of weather extremes everywhere, it seemed as though the mountains of New Mexico were especially affected. Opening the bottle, my grip on the soft, warm plastic forced a small trickle to escape around the cap. I watched, fascinated, as the water splashed to the ground. The surface of the ground was so parched that the droplets merged into a pool before rolling into a depression nearby. Even in that shallow pit, they did not spread or soak into the ground. To my amazement, the entire pool evaporated within seconds. The ground is too thirsty to drink, David said softly from behind me. Have you ever seen it like this before? I asked. The old ones say that it has been 100 years since the rains have left us for this long, David replied. That is why we have come to this place, to call the rain. I had met David years earlier, before I actually moved into the high desert north of Santa Fe. We had been on a sacred journey away from our homes, families, and loved ones. His people called such a journey a vision quest. For me, it was an opportunity to escape my corporate commitments and live close to the land, a periodic evaluation of my purpose and direction in life. 5 months after our first meeting, I found myself living full-time in the mountains, and that I'd previously visited just for solitude. Though David and I seldom saw one another, we did it. When we did, it was as if we had just spoken the day before. There was never any awkwardness or need to apologize for lack of correspondence. We each knew that we had our place and our priorities and the events in our lives demanded attention in that moment. In the present moment, we were there together, sharing this hot morning in the summer desert. After a long, warm drink from my bottle, I stood up and began walking toward David. Already he was a good 20 steps ahead of me. I followed him along along an invisible path that only he could seem to see. Our pace quickened as we made our way to the uh, through thick strands of knee-high sage and bushes. I watched the ground in front of me. Each of his footsteps kicked up a small puff of dust and disappeared into the hot, dry breeze. Behind us, there was not a trace of the trail that we were creating. "What is this place?" I asked David. "Why is it here in the middle of nowhere?" "This is the reason we have come," he laughed. "It is because of what you call nowhere that we are here." Today, we will touch the unseen forces of the world, speaking to Mother Earth, Father Sky, and the messengers in between. Today, David said, we pray rain. I'm always amazed at how quickly old memories can flood to the present. I'm equally amazed at how quickly they disappear. Immediately, my mind raced to the images of what I expected the next moments to look like. In my mind, I recalled prayer scenes that were familiar to me. I remembered going to see neighbouring villages and seeing native peoples dressed in garments of the earth. I remembered studying them and they moved rhythmically to the beat of wooden mallets pounding on drums of elk hide stretched tightly over pine frames. Nothing in my memory, however, prepared me for what I was about to witness. "The stone circle is a medicine wheel," David explained. "It's been here as long as my people can remember. The wheel itself has no power. It serves as a place to focus for the one invoking the prayer. You could think of it as a roadmap." I must have had a puzzled look on my face because David anticipated my next thought and answered before I'd finished formulating the question in my mind. "A map between humans and the forces of this world," he replied to the question I had not yet asked. "The map was created here in this place because here the skins between the worlds are very thin. From the time I was a young boy, I was taught the language of this map. Today I will travel an ancient path that leads to other worlds. From other worlds I will speak with the forces of this earth to do what we came here to do, to invite the rain." I watched as David removed his shoes. Even the way that he untied his laces of his tattered work boots was in prayer, methodically, intentional, and sacred. With his feet bare to the earth, he turned his back and walked away from me to the circle. Without a sound, he navigated his way around the wheel, taking great care to honor the placement of each stone. With reverence for his ancestors, he placed his naked feet onto the parched earth. With each step, his toes came within fractions of an inch of the outer stones. Never once did he touch them. Each stone remained precisely where the hands of another had placed it from a generation long departed. As he rounded the farthest rim of the circle, David turned, allowing me to see his face. To my amazement, his eyes were closed. They'd been closed the entire time. One by one, he was honoring the placement of each round white stone by feeling the position of his feet. As David returned to the position closest to me, he stopped, straightened his posture, moved his hands into a praying position in front of his face. His breathing became nearly indiscernible. He appeared oblivious to the heat of the midday sun, and after a few brief moments in this position, he took a deep breath, relaxed, and turned to me. "Let's go. Our work is finished here." "Already?" I asked, a little surprised. It seemed as though we had just arrived. I thought we were going to pray for rain. David sat on the ground, put his shoes back on, looking up, and he smiled. "No, I said we would pray rain. If we had prayed for rain, it would never happen." That afternoon, the weather changed. The rain began suddenly, with a few spats on the deck facing the mountains to the east. Within moments, the droplets grew larger and more frequent until a full-fledged thunderstorm was underway. Huge black clouds hovered over the valley, obscuring the Colorado mountains to the north for the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. The water accumulated faster than the earth could absorb it, and before long, local flooding became a reality. I stared out at 11 miles of sage between me and the mountain range to the east, and the valley looked like a vast lake. Later in the evening, I watched the weather reports at the local station. Though not surprised, I remember the feeling of awe at the colored climate maps flashed across the screen. Animated arrows indicated a typical pattern of cool, moist air angling up from the Pacific Northwest across Utah and into Colorado that often happened for the summer months. Then, unexplainably, the jet stream changed its course and did something unusual. I watched amazed as the air mass dipped with precision into the southern Colorado, northern New Mexico area before looping back to the north, resuming its path across the northwest. With the dip came the low pressure and the cool air mix and the perfect recipe for rain. What a mess, I exclaimed. Roads are washed out, homes and fields are flooded everywhere. What happened? How can you account for all of this rain? The voice on the other end of the phone was silent for a few seconds. That's the problem, David said. That's the part of the prayer I've not yet figured out. And this is an interesting thing because this is what Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. When riches come, they come with such speed that it makes your head spin and you wonder where it's been all these years. He's paraphrasing that. But the interesting thing here that I'm wanting to raise is that it's and why I wanted to go through the full story there is that it's David's response there when Greg said, I thought we came to pray for rain. And he said, no. If we'd have prayed for rain, it could never have happened. We came to pray rain. So what on earth does he mean by that? We came to pray rain. And so this is the discussion of that. So I came to pray rain. Now I knew what David's response, I came to pray rain, meant. The rest of the story is perhaps best shared in David's own words. When I was young, he said, our elders passed on to me the secret of prayer. The secret is that when we ask for something, we acknowledge that we do not have it. So when we ask for something, when we pray for rain, we acknowledge that we are lacking. Okay? Continuing to ask only gives power to what can never then come to pass. The path between man and the forces of this world begin in our hearts. It is here that our feeling world is married to our thinking world. In my prayer, I began with the feeling of gratitude for all that is and all that has come to pass. I gave thanks for the desert, for the wind, for the heat, for the drought, for the way that for that is the way of it until now. It is not good, it is not bad, it has been our medicine. Then I chose a new medicine. I began to have the feeling of what rain feels like. I felt the feeling of rain upon my body. I imagined that I was in a plaza village, barefoot in the rain. I felt the feeling of wet earth oozing between my toes. I smelt the rain. I felt what it was like to walk in the fields of corn and feel the rains having been so plentiful. The old ones remind us that this is how we choose our path in this world. So I think it's really interesting in the way that he sort of says, so this has been the way it is, and we came to pray rain. We came to, it has been, our past has been our medicine, but we're here to choose a new medicine. And so the way forward, though, is to see it as already complete, not to wish and hope and say, if only things were different. You know, and so the reason I wanted to go through this and read the things there is for you to really get the sense of how have you been asking? Have you been asking aright as such? Have you been praying for, wishing it was better, rather than imagining it done, being grateful for what is, but also imagining it complete, the new vision, the new choice point, the new future for you? We must first feel the feelings of what we wish to experience. This is how we plant the seeds of the new way. From this point forward, David continued, our prayer then becomes a prayer of thanks. Thanks? Do you mean thanks for what we have created? No, not for what. Not for what we may have. Very lighting. Thanks. Do you mean thanks for what we have created? No, not for what we not for what we may have created. Okay. All right, so I'll explain that more later. So one of the things that Braden also mentions here is a mid-century man known as Neville, which also Joe Vitale writes about in some of his books. And he said Neville eloquently described his philosophy by bringing dreams to reality through the use of feeling, by inviting us to make our future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of our desire fulfilled. Additionally, Neville suggests that it is our love for our new state that empowers the birth into existence. This is the thing. Unless you yourself enter the image and think from it, it is incapable of birth. And that's really the concept that I wanted to raise to you. And that is also, you've probably heard me on the show talk about the science of getting rich here, and Wallace Wattles said the same thing. If we can actually put ourselves into and live within that, in the mental, in our mental and emotional feeling, so being able to experience that, then it is more likely to come to pass. And this is on a practical stage. This means that we know we've had people in our community decide to buy a new car. They wanted to get a new car. They set a goal for a new car. And so what they would do is go and sit in the new car, go to the car lot or whatever. But then when they're driving their old car, they imagined it was the new car. They acted as if. They saw the new reality. They felt it as if it was. They didn't pray for a new car. They experienced it as if it was. They prayed new car. Didn't pray for rain, prayed rain, felt it. So what that meant is that they would be driving it and pretending as if it's the new car. Feeling the experience, even if it's the old car, walking up to it, imagining it if it was the new car, doing all these sorts of, you could call them mind tricks. But Wallace Wattles clearly talks about that as being, using the will, using your willpower to create the image of what you want, rather than being fixated on the things that you don't want. So here in this Wealthy and Wise segment, we're calling upon you to say, right, you've focused enough on what you don't want in life. What is it that you do want? How can you build that picture in your mind and enter into it personally? How can you pray rain? How can you feel the wet between the toes? Because we saw in that actual example there that it just came so fast that it was shocking. And that's exactly what, so really we can say what Braden was writing about, what Wallace Wattles was writing about in the early 1900s, what Napoleon Hill was writing about. They're all what Neville was talking about, the mid-19th century personal development author. They're all talking about the same thing. If we can imagine it done, then we have that new choice point and we move towards a different reality. Back to Mr. Destiny, when we can imagine it done, this is the old movie Mr. Destiny, Michael Caine and James Belushi. If we can imagine it done, we spin our life off into a totally new direction. But we've got to let go of the old. You can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. So I hope you found that valuable. Great book, The Isaiah Effect. Greg Braden, if you want to delve into that more in depth. But of course, we'd love to know whether you've had any particular insights from all of that. So do let us know. Share with us if you happen to be on live still or you're catching the replay. We would love to know your insights from that. And similarly too, if you have any success stories from implementing some of the practices that we have talked about, whether it be some of the tips that we share on the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise show or the personal growth tips, we would love to hear your success stories as well. But most of all, look, venturing forward, how can we help you? Is there something about your health and vitality you'd like to improve? Is there something about the money and lifestyle that you have access to that you'd like to improve? Okay, and we can help. Obviously, it's our Savvy Home Business division that helps. with the money and lifestyle side of things. We really help people to capitalize on some of the existing trends in the wellness industry and create a bit of a side gig, an extra stream of income working from home. So look, whatever it is that you want for yourself and your future life, the new choice point for you, for your best journey, you're going to want a plan. You're going to want some specific tactics and solutions. You'll want guidance and you'll want community. And you get all of that here in the Savvy team. So request an invitation. Come join us. I think you'll be glad you did. So look, congratulations for being with us here on the show. Look forward to hearing your thoughts and look forward to catching up with you next time round too. So until next time, it's Corey Sievers here with the Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Show, encouraging you to be savvy. We'll catch you again next time and see you then.